Look at that beautiful Martian pre-dawn. I guess that's what we'll call it. So we are back in Space Engineers today to show my latest update to the Prowler. This is the Prowler Mk. So I've made some changes to it. The camera has gotten much more epic, also in terms of exploding.
Convoy dispatched.
We have a convoy dispatched. I ended up raising the bar, literally. I raised the roll bar here so that I can actually look over to the side while I'm piloting. Or driving, I guess you'd call it. Be all technical about it. I did manage to get enough parts to throw a second solar panel up here. I have some more changes I want to do to it yet, but for now, those are the big upgrades. I did have ground locks installed originally, and between the ground lock pistons and the camera pistons, they were just causing no end of explosions. So let's demonstrate the functionality here, and that's right, I lost the radio, so... Alright, so the entire thing is actually controlled by the Easy Automation mod. So I'm going to go into third-person view here so you can get a good look at this. When I hit 5, it's going to automatically unlock, extend, and relock everything. Which is cool. And we get a pretty decent vantage point. You can very easily hide behind a hill with this, throw the camera up there and see what's going on. And now we control the camera. It doesn't use the mouse controls anymore. It's actually using the hotkey, or the control keys mod, to allow us to pan and zoom thusly. And it's a little bit slow. I'm working on a way to adjust the speed, but the Easy Automation doesn't quite allow for what I need at the moment. The benefit of this, though, is that we can zoom in and we can get some fine movements while we're zoomed in. I know the camera's really shaky when I'm zoomed in, and that's what the ground lock was supposed to fix. But so we've got our much nicer movement now. Real easy to fine-tune when we want to look at something specifically. And then when we want to bring it all back down again, with Easy Automation, it's going to set everything to just the right angles for us and wait till everything's at just the right angles before locking her down again. And boom. Another thing that I'd like to point out is these LCDs at the front here. They're actually showing pictures that show you the status of it. So when I start raising the camera, it's going to basically show an in progress sort of a please don't do anything picture. And then once everything is in place, which will be a few more seconds, we will get this picture, which denotes that the camera is installed and ready to use, and you probably shouldn't drive anywhere because it's going to be waggling all over the place. The other thing it actually does in this is it's supposed to turn on the parking brake, but instead it toggles it. So if I set the parking brake myself, it'll actually, when I go ahead and retract it, much the same process. And yes, I do love playing with this thing. Once it's retracted, if you'll watch the parking brake there, you'll see it automatically disengages. And we're ready to pull away. So let's go ahead, we'll find a little something to spy on here, so I can show you much more in character, I guess you would, how it's working. I kind of regret driving up this hill because it's difficult to get down from without flipping yourself. Oh well. And again, I believe I mentioned this in the last video, but under normal circumstances you wouldn't skyline yourself like this. Drive up to the very top of a hill in an enemy zone, because you're going to be really easy to see up there. You know, my camouflage doesn't mean jack if I don't match the color of the sky at that point. So the nearest thing I know of we've got this G-Corp base over here. We're going to go spy on that. One of the things I should mention that happened ignoring all the explosions. I think Lord Clang and I have come to an understanding that while I appreciate him, he doesn't need to be quite so forceful with showing his appreciation of me, I guess. I don't really know how to word that. What I'm trying to get at here is, while attempting to fix this, because there was a slightly different version that tended to explode a lot, I did end up losing the antenna, and I just haven't put it back on. So at the moment, I don't have actual remote control of this once I'm not in the seat. And if I happen to die out here for whatever reason, it's going to be really hard to find. Unless I have the camera extended and I'm on top of a hill, then, as we've discussed, that would be pretty easy to find. Still having a little bit of issues with the wheels. It does really like to tip on me if there's any sort of a bend at all. Sometimes it just tries to do it while I'm driving straight. I don't think the pistons and the rotors are causing that. I do actually turn on the force weld property, otherwise known as the safety lock, when I'm in motion. So that shouldn't be affecting the ship too much, because it should consider everything as though it was locked in place with landing gear. And indeed, some of it is. I'm using the Maglock Surfaces mod to lock down a lot of things. Although I have found it seems like the Maglocks are a little bit buggy. If I load back in from a save where I was locked to the ground, they're not. And the hinge itself seems kind of buggy too. I've encountered a few times. Well, it's always the hinge that seems to explode when I get that locked into place. That or the pistons. And I've encountered a few times with the conveyor hinge where... Oh, that's cool. You can see the shadow there. I've encountered a few times with the conveyor hinge where it just loses power and it won't extend. A couple of times it's reported the wrong angle too. And the whole boom will go up about 30 degrees and then extend to full height when it's supposed to wait until it gets up to almost a full 90. So I don't know quite what's going on with that stuff, but, you know, modded blocks, it's to be expected, I guess. The hinge kind of surprises me, because that one literally just extends the rotor script, and it just changes the offset to be, you know, in the center of the block rather than to the side of it. The only reason I'm really using the hinge is so I can keep everything nice and center-lined. I did have the camera, the actual tilt function on a hinge originally, and I had no end of trouble with it. I just could not get it to lift the friggin' camera, which, as you've seen, the rotors have absolutely no problem with. So there's a little something up with the conveyor hinges mod. I'm not entirely sure what, but I've got the one hinge working for my purposes now. That's about all I'm going to ask for. There are some additional changes I'm looking to make to the Prowler yet. I want it to be more of a utility vehicle than it is. What I mean by that is right now it has a camera, but it's not particularly fast, and it doesn't have a outstanding amount of storage to it. It also doesn't really do anything with hydrogen, so you can't refill hydrogen bottles with the way I have it configured. So I want to make some changes to the internals. I'm going to swap the storage with the batteries, so the batteries will be in the middle, the storage will be at the back. That'll allow me to increase the size of the storage. I'm going to put a large instead of two mediums. That'll give me some more large ports to play with, which I should hopefully be able to get wired up correctly to the oxygen generator so that we can get the bottles in there to refill them, because they won't go through a small port. And then that should also allow me to get a connector on the back too. I've got solar on it right now, but if I turn on my power saving mode and set the batteries to recharge, it still says it's going to be about 2 days for a full charge where I'm at. So I'd like to be able to hook up to a large grid and recharge a lot faster. At home, that single solar panel I have pretty much keeps the whole thing charged non-stop. Unless I'm, you know, running the assembler non-stop, which I do from time to time. Alright, so we're coming up on this thing here. I think I should be able to... Oh yeah. Definitely be able to see it from here. Let's back her up a bit. So the idea is we want to keep ourselves below the horizon, but have the camera be up there working. So let's give this a try. The parking brake is sometimes really finicky for no apparent reason. But hey, it worked this time. It's cool being able to see our silhouette. I'm gonna say, watch this be the time it explodes. Yeah, and see, whatever happened there was enough to kick it out of parking brake, basically. Alright, I'm gonna have to turn this a little to the side here, I think. I don't know, there's a glitch with wheels right now where the parking brake will just stop working until you brake them and re-weld them, which I had to do earlier. Alright, now we're holding still. So now we'll head on up here. We should be able to get a real good view of that base. Oh yeah. So, as shaky as it is at this distance, I don't have a way to combat that yet. Once I get access to thrusters, I should be able to stabilize myself better. But for right now, I can tell... Got... for sure one missile silo. It looks like... probably 1, 2, 3... 4 Gatling turrets up this side. Got a large antenna up there as well. And from doing my recon missions, I know this is one of the bases that's spawning shipments sometimes. I'm going to zoom out, that's giving me a headache. There we go. But yeah, see, that's very much the idea, is I can do my spying from here now. And if I go ahead and retract the system... Well, because I drive around a bit, I'm still exposed, but the idea is my profile would not be exposed to the base. And actually, when I'm sitting down, you can't see it, so... it works. So that's the... Come on. Oh, God. That is the Prowler Mk. She needs a bit of work, but she's doing well. You'll see I've got all these timer blocks stored at the bottom. That's what's doing the key binding for me. You can only read one action per thing per keystroke. So I have to have one timer for press up, one timer for release up, so on and so forth. The controls that are working right now are up, down, left, and right on the numpad. I was intending to use plus and minus to control speed. The issue is that while Easy Automation has variable support in it, it doesn't allow you to change variables yourself. So in essence, if I wanted to be able to change speed, I would need to have a bunch of if-else or if statements in each of the keys or stuff like that. There's no great way to do it, really. I can do it with alternating files and swapping those, and I might play around with that, but for right now it's working for what it's intended. So, a little update to Mars while I'm sitting out here. And while I'm sitting out here, we don't need the light on. We're going to set it to recharge mode. Just let it quietly suck up some power there. So, Mabel has been busy and has given us a bunch more things to look at. So, if I go into my GPS, I currently have the flight research station shown. But we also have, the ice mine we've cleared. This one here I'm going to delete. That was actually me digging straight down to a chamber in the ice mine so I could run straight down rather than flying a circuit around it. But we've also been given a link to the Secret Weapons Research Facility, which I'm going to show that on HUD, and the Communications Satellite, which I'm also going to show on HUD. So to start with, the Secret Weapon Research Facility. Well, this is space engineers, and we have bullets, so the only other thing I can imagine that would be there is rockets. Rocket launchers, potentially rocket turrets. Although I don't know if they're going to have that, because I've seen some comments about people finding ways to steal rocket turrets. So that's another base for us to attack. Flight Research Station is probably going to be our next goal. I reconned that one earlier today, and the pictures will actually be in the next episode. I might actually upload them into the game so I can show them at like a desk or something. But the Flight Research Station's probably going to be our next goal. It's got a lot of turrets, but they're all interior turrets, which I can take out fairly easily with my precise rifle, and which I don't have on me, and they can't really shoot back at me too much. And then straight up there, 50 kilometers, is the communications satellite. This is the ultimate goal, is that when we manage to get off Mars, we want to go there. And frankly, I've been thinking about this. With hydrogen bottles and oxygen bottles, I might just be able to fly there, which would be really funny. Just straight up out of the atmosphere. Hi, guys. I might do that for a laugh. You know what? Save our progress and see just how far we can get. It helps that I have the speed mod installed, so 104 meters a second is not our maximum speed. God, I didn't even check to see what okay, both of my bottles are full. And this doesn't count, this is totally just for a laugh. 120 meters a second. We are still in full planet gravity. We're starting to break through the atmosphere, though. Still in full gravity. Coming out to the Milky Way. Yeah, what up there? Oh, up here. That's where we crashed. Oh, I don't think that's that base. Well, the camouflage did good because I totally can't see the Jeep. Up now our gravity's falling, which means our speed's going to be increasing, and pretty soon I'll be able to turn off my dampeners and just let myself coast. Let's get up to about 300 meters a second, then we'll try coasting, see how high I can get. I can see my velocity vector is slightly off because I actually reoriented myself in that hit burn and I don't have my dampers on. Having played Elite Dangerous, I know about fixing a thrust vector. I know what that is. That's what Mama always told me not to look into the eyes of. But Mama, that's where the fun is.
You have successfully escaped the Martian gravity well. No pursuit detected.
That's good. 1.5, I'm going to start my slowdown procedure. I think I'll be out here to Mars. Transmitting data on all frequencies. Scenario is complete. It is recommended to remove the mod if you want to carry on playing.
Transmitting on all frequencies. There is no way the corporation can stop evidence of their illegal weapons stockpiling spreading throughout the galaxy. Well done. I feel like I did most of the work, but your assistance was appreciated.
You know what we're going to do now? We're going to hit the planet going as fast as we possibly can. In fact, I'm going to aim for our crash site, but we're not going to hit it because we're going to be slightly off. So that's going to pull us more towards the center as we get into gravity. Maximum speed is 1,000. Let's see if we can go for it.
Searching G-Corp data files. Atmospheric thruster technology unlocked. Searching G-Corp data files. Missile technology unlocked.
Oh, it's unlocking everything for me now.
All technology unlocked.
Bounce.
Tower reports convoy arrived safely.
And I'd say that's a good way to end that video. Well, should be another couple of days or so before we get into the next episode. I will be looking to record that today, but then I need a day or so to edit it together, of course. So, until next time, try not to face plant a planet at 1,000+ meters a second.